So I had recorded a video for today, you guys, but then something else happened and I just thought to talk about it quickly. So just when we thought that this entire situation between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B has ended, it seems like it is still going, and this time Nicki Minaj is swinging, literally coming swinging for everybody. She woke up and decided to continue, all right? And it seems like Cardi B first came out G's blazing, but it might look like she ran out of things to say. She ran out of dregs to the point where she ended up, copying and pasting a paragraph of what might seem to be an apology, but when you look at it, it's still her gaslighting as usual. She just cannot say, I'm sorry. So I don't know what's going on, you guys, with this entire situation. People are also speculating that things might have gotten real behind the scenes, given that, well, there is now the legal talk also happening behind the scenes. And, yesterday she said some really nasty things. And if you think that a lot of companies would want to still continue working with her after what she said about, infertility, after what she said about, autism, after the stereotypes that she was propelling about rape victims, it does not make any sense. No one would want to associate their brand with this kind of behavior. And so people are speculating that behind the scenes, she might actually be facing a lot of heat. And this makes me now understand why Nicki Minaj was coming at her like that. Because when you actually look at it, she wasn't really going in on her about things that she cannot change about herself. She was going in on her individually as a person based off of the decisions that she has made in life. Not necessarily something as generic as, oh my God, that's why you're like this, that's why you're like this. What Advocate BBL didn't realize yesterday was that, well, whatever she was saying would affect a lot of people. I did mention it in my previous video, if you do pay attention, that whenever you're fighting with someone, when you say things that they cannot control, things that could offend another whole group of people, it ceases to be a wise decision. So this is the paragraph that Advocate BBL decided to put out. And you can tell that it was pre-typed. Even the initial drag that she decided to come up with first, you can tell that it looks like something that was pre-written. She doesn't have the vocabulary even like this. She's not that smart. Clearly somebody wrote this for her, because I'm sorry, I refuse to give her this, that she probably wrote this. But anyway, she was basically saying, oh, this is the last time that I'm going to be talking about this. I refuse to lose endorsements because of you. You're going through issues, this and that, gaslighting and projecting as usual, because you know that she's obsessed with, grape. Like, generally grapes is something that really does, excite her for some reason. It's very odd, actually, if you ask me, the way she's obsessed about that, because so far everybody that she's gotten into a back and forth with, that has been a go-to. And it's very dark, actually, for someone to have a go-to insult like that. It's just dark energy, dark spirit, and you're out here saying that, I wonder where the dark energy is coming from. It is coming from within, mamas. Okay, she's obsessed with unaliving of people and grape and all of these things. Speaking on children, I mean, initially on my video that I did earlier on, I did tell you, I did insert a snippet of her admitting to speaking on children out of spite. So anyway, this is the development. It seems like Advocate BBL is seemingly folding, but because her pride won't let her, she's still going to try and act like she's still dragging there. Somebody said that Jay-Z put a leash on her. I guess they realized that the sympathy is not going to work. Yesterday she behaved in her true character for the world to see, and now they're trying to sort of control it, but I don't know if it's gonna work this time. So anyway, let's move on to the actual today's video, and then I will catch you in another video if possible. But as for the, children drags, I'm not even going to address that anymore, out of respect for both Culture and Papa Bear, because those children are innocent. They don't deserve any of the hits that they're getting from both women. I do feel like when it comes to children, we have to draw the line, and I've always said it on this channel. But at the same time, what we're also not going to do is to act like Nicki Minaj started this whole thing. She did not start with the children talk. Advocate BBL did. That being said, let's get into our video. Now, listen, you guys, it seems like multiple media personalities are finally waking up to the antics of Advocate BBL and her record label and her team. Because tell me why yesterday a lot of videos from content creators got struck just because they were trying to protect her. And when I see Amon Wiggins in the center of calling this out, I'm like, this is what we've been trying to say for this past couple of years. But guess what? You called us haters. We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to be discussing about Loren Lorosa of the Breakfast Club. At this point, I might just call her Shameless Lorosa or Lying Lauren, because what the way that she stood or she sat on there with a straight face, blatantly lying, has to be studied. Where is the shame? We are also going to be talking about, Megan Thee Stallion. Allegedly, she has been approved for another Jay-Z sample, and they're allegedly planning to actually use her to clap back at Nicki Minaj. We're also going to be discussing about Joe Budden. He's being called out because I guess the people feel like, well, he's not coddling Advocate BBL enough. And these are some of the things that we'll be discussing in this video. Hello, tea lovers, and welcome to the tea plug. I trust you guys are doing well, and I trust you are doing great. Personally, I am doing great. You guys, I am doing extremely amazing. And without further ado, let us dive straight into today's tea. So, first of all, let us talk about everything that went down yesterday. It was chaos really in the content creation world, as other media personalities felt like they weighed double standards when it comes to Advocate BBL. Now, a little background story, for some of you who may fail to understand what audio I'm going to be talking about. So, remember how we spoke about, Advocate BBL going in on Paprika Spice, saying that, well, she was going to put her hands on, that little girl. It seems like, well, that audio ended up being copyrighted by Wana. You guys, if you do not know, Atlantic Falls and Wana distribution. Okay, so what they ended up doing is that they came for everybody who had that audio in their videos. They are basically trying to protect her. And the big question still remains, who recorded the audio and who leaked that audio? Because as far as people are concerned, and when you do listen to the audio, people are kind of pointing out that, well, it does sound like the recording was coming from her end. And people are also questioning the fact that she knew that the audio was 11 minutes long. And she was basically telling Ice Spice's team to release the 11-minute long audio. People were like, so how do you know that if you're not the one who did the recording? It does sound like, well, you probably might have done the recording and leaked the audio, hoping for a different reaction from the public to deflect people from the fact that, well, you failed to outsell it as you had initially claimed. Now, to be honest, I'm tempted to actually believe this notion because that would make sense, okay? Given the way that she ended up not being able to outsell it, as she had said, I could see them trying to use that as a deflection. But then again, I don't think that they expected the kind of outcome that it had, because all it did is it made her look crazy, really. And so, yeah, a lot of YouTubers really had their videos struck by Warner Brothers yesterday. And so people are beginning the discussion that, well, had it been Nicki Minaj crashing out on the internet, no record label would have been behind trying to clean up her mess, trying to protect her and stuff like that. And they're saying it's weird that, well, this record label is actually coming, protecting her and copyrighting an audio call like that. And they're also using the same argument to say that, well, if they are saying that it's not her team who recorded it, so why does her record label hold copyright to the audio if they didn't record it, if the audio doesn't belong to them? Because it's not just a voice on that phone call, it's also the other side, Paprika's team. So yeah, let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about this entire situation. Do you think that, well, they might have been behind that recording? Now, moving on to the important part, which is the double standards. Now, am I shocked that this is happening? Well, absolutely not, because these are the same double standards that we've been calling out, that as an artist, she gets away with a lot of things that no other artist would be out there getting away with. They literally scrub the internet of anything that would be embarrassing for her. An entire record label going to these lengths just to make sure that the crashing out of their artist is not out there. Guys, doesn't it seem awkward and odd to you? And the more they actually continue doing stuff like this, is the more people are going to wake up, because it's becoming ridiculous at this point. Now, one person who certainly was not a fan of this entire situation is Amon Wiggins. But it is also to note that when we would constantly try to point out the double standards when it comes to female rap, you guys called us crazy. Amon Wiggins, included. At some point, he was really riding hard for Advocate BBL, and all we were ever asking for was just fairness. But at that time, because I guess he was sort of benefiting from proximity to her, or he was getting a pat on the back, I guess it didn't matter then. But now that it's beginning to affect him, he's now out there complaining. So he was not here for it. In as much as I do say that, well, he was also a contributing factor to the Nicki Minaj H train, and to Nicki Minaj being painted as this bitter person, and to the double standards and the hypocrisy surrounding female rap as a whole, I do feel like this time he had a point. And you know what? It's very weird. I don't know, you call it intuition or what. Yesterday when I was actually editing that video, I said to you guys, I was going to insert it at the end of the video. But for some reason, I just felt like not inserting that audio. I don't know. You call it instinct. I don't know. Is it I don't know, you guys. But instinctively, I was just against inserting that video in that audio in my video. And I saw a couple of comments basically calling me out and cussing me out, saying that, well, there is no video, insert the video. And I could tell that some of the comments were not my regular subscribers or regular people who watch this channel. I could tell that these are Advocate BBL fans. And I just couldn't figure out why they were pressing me so much to insert that audio. And now it's only making sense for me that, well, they were probably bots or accounts, ghost accounts of someone who had probably been targeting any channel that seems to not support their narrative, and they wanted to make sure that, well, they spook me out when I insert that audio, and then they strike my video. Because I found it rather awkward, you guys. Like, there's literally somebody I went back and forth with. That particular one was just coming at me, G's blazing, demanding to hear the audio. And you could tell that from their previous comments. You know how YouTube shows you that, this person has been commenting this. Like, from their previous comments, I could see that on this channel, it's always been about supporting Advocate BBL. So I was like, why are they pressing me to insert the audio? Now it's making sense. They knew this was going to happen, and thank God I didn't insert that audio. But anyway, you guys, let me insert what Amon Wiggins had to say.
What was going to happen, and not she wanted to see what was going to happen, and not just because she was so pressed about Cardi, but because in her mind, and to this part I do not know. I don't speak things that I don't know, but she feels like there's some inner workings with Roc Nation and a vested interest with these labels with Cardi B and trying to fluff up the numbers. So she was paying attention to that, especially by Jay-Z. Because come on, let's be clear here. Cardi B had some decent records on that album. She had a lot of songs on there. For him to clear imaginary players, number one. And then for her to drop that as like the lead single, that was all petty bullshit. That was spite. You didn't have to release that record. So Nicki is coming from different angles. There's that angle of, well, there's just my competitor. But then it's like, well, there's a machine behind it. And the reason why I even feel like that even more now, do you guys know what happened to me earlier today and to other many content creators? I got a copyright claim on my video, so it's not even going to make as much money or do enough views. They stopped the viewership on that video. I had to crop it out. Some of the video is muted because UMG, Warner Music Group, filed a copyright claim and blocked my video worldwide for that audio of the phone call recording. But understand this, Warner Music Group is a music platform. That was not music. Right. They went and registered that. So we couldn't use that. So Nicki Minaj is fighting a big ass machine. It's no shade. They're literally trying to make sure that Cardi B still looks clean cut and dry when she was out here crashing out, threatening people. And now they're trying to silence the internet. And they're registering that audio that she's claiming that wasn't hers, remember, that she didn't record. So how the hell is your label registered that as you the sole proprietor of that audio? And you copyright claiming it as music. Right. Some bullshit with that woman. I don't care what nobody said.
Absolutely. Are you talking about the live from today?
Yeah. But listen.
Always succeed though.
But listen, in what world? Let's just be honest here. This is what makes me feel bad for Nicki, even though Nicki's listen, she done called me a dumb mother and all kind of stuff. But just in fairness though. Yeah. If that was Nicki crashing out like that, do you think a label would go and register that as music and start blocking it worldwide and taking channels down? No. To save the image? No, they would let that shit ride. Right. For everyone to see. And the Breakfast Club, and they would be gassing it. Do you know what they did? I don't have a problem with them. Do you know how they glazed over that today and then started whacking Ice Spice?
Insane, bro. But I feel like she should call the police.
No, I need you. So we can't you gotta let that sink in.
Yeah.
They laughed that off, what she did. And then too, they played the full audio and the video is still up.
Really?
Every other YouTube channel or TikTok channel that tries to play that audio, it gets stricken, demonetized, and blocked worldwide.
That's crazy. I do feel
Moment of silence.
Everybody always give Cardi that sympathy card, but the bigger picture is they've been playing on Nicki's head top with the Grammys, with just everything, that she never really got her flowers that she deserved. And I feel like
Well, there you heard that, you guys. And to just show you that she's a very problematic person who cannot take any form of criticism, she fell out with the Shade Room. We all know that the Shade Room during the H train, they were anti-Nicki Minaj. Even up to now, they're anti-Nicki Minaj. But each time the Shade Room posts something and the comment section is not on her side, she was out there blaming the Shade Room for that. And when you are being honest, the Shade Room has always been biased, against Nicki Minaj and in support of her. But even that was not enough, because the Shade Room, I guess, was not deleting any comments that were not supporting her. So let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about that. Still speaking about the media, people are coming for Joe Budden because they feel like in his recent episode, he did not bash Nicki Minaj enough, okay? He was just not willing to go there. And I guess, they're not used to any, major media, hip-hop media personalities holding Advocate BBL accountable or being fair towards Nicki Minaj. They crash out. They cannot handle that. And it's always like, oh, why do you tiptoe around Nicki Minaj? And in this entire instance, honestly, if everything is about to be broken down step by step, you can tell that Advocate BBL is the one who pokes Nicki Minaj. And when Nicki responds, she turns around and tries to play victim. And then she goes back to try to be a bully again. It doesn't work. And then she goes around fishing for sympathy again. It's a cycle with her like that. And I guess people got so used to say that Nicki deserves to be the one getting bullied by all these men and all these big, hip-hop media personalities. But at this point, I am feeling something. I sense something in the air that especially the independent media platforms are getting tired of being controlled. Because at the end of the day, in as much as they would want to please these executives and stuff like that, their platforms are independent, okay? They do derive value in the way that, people resonate with them, or people feel like they're being fair. They want audience from everyone, really. You think Joe Budden cares who's watching, the Nicki supporters or the Advocate BBO supporters? No. But when you continue to lie, of course, people will start drifting away. The difference between the independent media and Charlamagne the God is Charlamagne still gets paid regardless of how many people are viewing his show. The same cannot be said, for platforms like the Joe Budden podcast and academics. So if you become too much of a clown, you will lose your credibility and you are not on like some employment. And that will affect your income, and that will affect your eligibility as a respected, hip-hop media personality. And these people are tired of capping for this woman. This is why I'm seeing this shift. It's only those paid media platforms that I do suspect are probably getting payolarized directly from the record labels, or even those people that have personal friendships and ties to Advocate BBL like Charlamagne. Like I was saying, Charlamagne wouldn't mind capping because it will not directly affect his pocket. He's still getting his salary regardless. So yeah, I do feel like with Joe Budden, however, when it comes to also this entire situation, he knows too much about what was happening during the H train, because admit it or not, he was one of the major media platforms that were going against Nicki Minaj, spinning narratives. Even the C-head, the Coca-Cola head narrative, he was at the forefront of calling Nicki that. And there's also a pattern, just to say, that I've noted about people who call Nicki Minaj that. It always turns out that, well, the people that run with those narratives are actually the ones in that situation. So I find it rather interesting that Joe Budden, of all people, would propel a narrative that Nicki Minaj is a Coca-Cola head. But anyway, that being said, Joe Budden knows a lot. This is what I'm just going to say. He probably knows a lot that we do not know about. And he's tired. When you look at the likes of, the Macklemore Hills and stuff like that, when it comes to pop culture, when it comes to hip hop and, friendships with these executives and stuff like that, they're still getting in there. It's still exciting, to say, I got this person on the phone call and they say, don't speak bad about this person. You feel like you're powerful until later on in the game when you realize that it's each man for himself. And I feel like this is something Joe Biden has grown to realize and grown to accept, that in fact these executives and these people, these black men like brother billionaire that you're out there capping for, antagonizing a woman for, they don't care about you. They only care about you when you're relevant. Hence the way that they are literally chasing down Kai Cenat right now. I pray for him. He's so young. I would hate to see the industry swallow that boy. But with Joe Budden, like I said, I do feel like he knows a lot. And also to note that yesterday, Nicki Minaj was calling out Lucian and basically saying, tell that person to shut the F up. Okay? Tell that person to shut the F up. And I do believe that a lot is happening behind the scenes, okay? Another reason why I also feel like people do protect Advocate BBL is I believe there was a lot of pillow talking when she was coming in the industry, and there were a lot of dirty things that they did to benefit her, some of which, she might have known about, or the dirty tactics against Nicki Minaj. So I feel like at this point, seeing how much of a crash out she is and seeing how much ready she is to snitch on people, they probably know that they cannot just hardly, just do a hard drop, like just, drop her hard like that, because she's going to go out there and start singing. And all of a sudden, all the things that Nicki has been saying over the years, I'm pretty sure that, well, when they ditch Advocate BBL will come out and say, I'm going to spill everything. I'm going to say everything that you were doing to sabotage her behind the scenes. And then people will see that Nicki was not crazy. And I do believe this is the reason why they go to all these lengths to protect her, because business wise she's becoming a liability. But I feel like she does know too much. But for her sake, I hope she does not continue to provoke these industry executives, because those people will stop at nothing when you become too much of a problem. That also makes me think and wonder if that leak was probably from people close to her. It's actually making me wonder that, well, that leak could have probably been from people close to her that now want to all of a sudden just show people the kind of person that she is. And they will act like, oh, we don't know. Who did that? I know that record labels can be messy. They can do stuff like that. Who did that? Who said that? Because at the end of the day, guess what? Wana is still gonna benefit from either hair or Ice Spice. So at this moment, if she's becoming a liability and she already failed at the mission of taking out Nicki Minaj, they don't care about her like that. They're probably just holding her because they don't want her to spill the tea on them. So if at this point supporting Ice Spice and putting out another person, another manufactured female rapper, seems to be more lucrative for them business wise, guess what? They're going to do that. And I fear this is the beginning of something interesting that we're going to see. And for her sake, I hope she's able to do well in as far as a tour is concerned, because failure to perform on the tour, I'm sorry for her. But anyway, let's move on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Speaking about liars and media personalities, Loren Lorosa has absolutely lost her marbles. Loren has become such a liar. At this point, I don't know if I should call her lying Lorosa. And she's also shameless whilst she does it. So do I call her shameless Lorosa? Because, girl, for someone with a TMZ background, but also TMZ also is known for spinning narratives. So at the end of the day, it's very on brand for someone who was working at TMZ. Loren sat on the Breakfast Club and literally lied about everything that went down the first night of the back and forth between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. And it's embarrassing at this point. We get it. You probably do not have freedom to say or like to support Nicki Minaj. You probably are told to not. But can you at least present the facts and say that, well, regardless of how everything went down, I still support Advocate BBL? That would be better for you than to sit on there with a little book acting like you did some research and, and then lie. Loren and your pixie cut, stop it. Really? Is that what you're hiding in that pixie cut? Lies and malicious intent and defamation. What is that, Loren? Embarrassing. I thought she was better, but oh my God, you are becoming a mini Charlemagne the God, and it's embarrassing at this point. It's embarrassing, Lauren. You still have a long way to go, and I'm not sure this is how you're supposed to go about it. For someone who makes a living out of this, pathetic, disgusting, very low even for the Breakfast Club. That girl disgusts me. From that day, I'm just disgusted, just pure disgust. That's all. I'm sorry, but like if you're willing to lie like that, she literally sat on there and said that Nicki Minaj said that Advocate BBL didn't sell 200K when it's chat data that posted that that girl sold 199.6K. Are you mad? I'm gonna need the Twitter babs really to handle Lauren, because what is this? But anyway, let's move on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Let us talk about Win Again by Nicki Minaj, okay? It seems like amidst all this chaos, Nicki is out there still winning again. Tell me why Win Again is out there going #1 on iTunes 11 years after its release. Now, this is why I want to assure you, Babs, don't let anything sway you. Right now, if you go on Twitter, the narrative is the GP is tired of Nicki Minaj. The GP is tired of. They did that in 2018. It didn't work. So I don't know why they think that it's going to be any different this time. What GP? And what benefit does it have for the GP to be on your side? Because if the GP mattered so much, that girl would have outsold Nicki Minaj. So clearly, the GP has got no impact of what Nicki Minaj does or does not do. So don't let them gaslight you into thinking that Nicki has to fall in line or fold or let that girl disrespect her just so the GP can like her. If Nicki keeps quiet, Nicki is so P-word. Oh my God, she's scared of Advocate BBL. And the so-called GP is out there laughing at her for not responding to Advocate BBL. If Nicki responds, she's titled, well, she's the bully, she's this, she's that. So F the GP, respectfully. If you're part of the GP, yeah, I said it, F you. Really, F you and your, and your daft self and... Oh my God. TMZ headlines believing as bees. The Shade Room headlines believing has bees. All of you, daft. You see a headline that says Nicki Minaj is bitter, and the next thing you're running with it, making it a reality. Daft people. Daft mother chuckers. I'm sorry, I've never been this, but it's annoying actually. It's very annoying when I see people just running their mouths about things that have got absolutely no idea about. Running with the TMZ headlines. F all of you. Moving on to the next thing that we're going to be. Anyway, congratulations to Nicki Minaj and the Babs once again for Win Again, okay? And we win again. Moving on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Speaking about people that are pit against Nicki Minaj, let us talk about Bongo 2. Bongo 2 is hoping for another his moment. And unfortunately, at this point, I don't know if that's going to work on her behalf. Because I do feel like Nicki is going to ignore her. That's not going to happen again. And I mean, she didn't respond to Bigfoot. So whatever jab she throws at Nicki Minaj, I don't think Nicki is going to care at this point. And I don't know if that's going to work. Well, word on the street is that, well, Brother Billionaire, the title swindler, approved one of his songs, for Bongo 2 to sample. And on that song, she's supposedly going to be taking shots at Nicki Minaj. I don't know how beneficial that's going to be for her, seeing how Imaginary Players went. If I were her, I would be careful. Seeing that she also has a lot of things going on, I don't know if it's a smart idea for her to be wanting to go against Nicki Minaj, really. So yeah, let me know in the comment section, you guys, what you think about that. And I do hope that Advocate BBL also gets to realize that no matter what deal she has with Rock Nation, if they have been brutal to other artists, she's not immune to that. Where's Meek Mill today? But at some point, was he not walking around having other people's documentary blogged by Fraudulent Nation and stuff like that? And a couple of years later, he's on the internet begging for 5 million to drop an album. I really wish I had those, radio effects. Because, yeah, where is he? Where is Meek Mill right now? A lot of people have been effed over with Fraudulent Nation, but she still thinks somehow that Jay-Z would do clean business with her. If Lil Uzi was out there complaining about fraudulent nation, what are you, advocate? And it seems like she doesn't understand that to Jay-Z, they are all just business. They are money generating assets. That's all he sees. It's not like he cares about your well-being and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, he's the artist that he benefits the most from is Bongo 2. So if I were here, I would be careful. Because guess what? Bongo 2 also wants the number 2 title. I mean, you both failed to get the number 1 title, but you think Bongo 2 is looking at you and is like, well, I'm content being at number 3 or number 4. No, they also want Bongo 2 to be number 2, as you are claiming to be. And so I would be careful about getting into any form of deals with fraudulent nation, because those people will F you over and you won't be able to complain about it, because as it stands right now, you're out there saying Nicki should be thankful to Rock Nation because they put her songs on Tidal. Like, this is why I say that this girl is just so daft. She just says anything. And lately it's been Rock Nation this, Rock Nation that. It was Uzi, I'm gonna sneak you to Rock Nation, you're ungrateful. I don't know what they promised her. But if she thinks she's going to get anything for free from Fraudulent Nation, she's in for a very rude awakening. Brother Billionaire does not give people stuff for free. I mean, he said that he doesn't even give his own relative. He sold his own mom. Listen, if you think you're going to benefit off of Fraudulent Nation for free, I'm sorry to tell you this. That's not going to happen. And you're going to soon find out who the Tidal swindler is. Very soon, actually. But anyway, that also makes me think that Imaginary Players, if despite it being ridiculously bad like that, was cleared for a reason. Jay-Z plays chess, okay? And unfortunately, she seems to be using her emotions. You think he doesn't know that you're running to him just to spite Nicki Minaj? You think he doesn't know that you're running to him just because Nicki's out there calling him out and stuff like that, and you feel like you can kumbaya? I feel like he probably ghost wrote that song that he has approved for Bongo 2, and is just here to show that, well, they both had my samples, but look, my artist sounds better. She's gonna be in for a rude awakening, and we'll be here for that. Thank you very much, you guys, for watching. And until my next one, see you. I'm sorry, you guys. At the beginning of the video, I really thought I had connected my microphone, but I then noticed that I hadn't. So the audio is gonna sound a little bit different somewhere in the middle, and it's gonna pick up nicely later. But I mean, by now you already heard that. Until my next one, I'll see you. And for those people that support Advocate BBL, I was just kidding. I got hacked. My voice got hacked. It was my ghostwriter that said F you. Bye-bye.